Welcome to the C4 Canucks Hockey Podcast.
Every week, they talk about the Vancouver Canucks with a fair amount of nonsense thrown in.
Sure, they're never the first with the news, nor the best connected, and definitely more off the rails than on.
But they've been talking puck the longest, and that counts for something, right?
So strap in for the longest running, best mediocre Canucks Hockey Podcast.
It's C4 with Chris and Anna.
Did anyone miss us? Because it's like Thursday, and normally this episode would come out on Monday.
Yeah, but we're here.
We kind of got things like, I mean, hey, let's look at it this way. Just like the Vancouver Canucks, we haven't a clue what's going on.
It's all a bit chaotic.
Until it happens.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, we said, hold up, let us cook, and then we set the kitchen on fire.
We did. Totally, right? Like, completely burnt down. It was a mess.
It's a mess.
Mics everywhere. Oh.
Yeah.
You know, remnants of Adam's notes.
Yeah. Yeah, there's Clay's positivity is strewn about.
Oh, it's just a mess. But yeah, how are you doing, Anna?
I'm okay. Unlike the Canucks, I'm technically still breathing.
Yeah. Well, so had we recorded this episode normally on Sunday night, the Vancouver Canucks would have still had math on their side. Mm-hmm. Right? I mean, that's sort of what we had intended. But game went forever. Like, I think they mentioned it on the broadcast, but it felt like the third period went for an hour and a half or something like that. Like, the game felt slow.
The Vegas game, yeah. Canucks feel like they just abandoned ship in that third period. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
And we were both just exhausted, lots going on, and we're like, we'll record tomorrow night. Well, see, tomorrow night was Monday, and I had forgotten that my daughter's softball season is starting up, and I had a team meeting. I'm the head coach. I got to essentially
wild
voluntold.
Yes, I'm familiar with that.
And then we were like, okay, when we record, well, Tuesday was out because, again, me, and then tonight was Wednesday, we're recording.
Monday was also me because, I was dealing with a power outage. So, here we are.
Yeah, it's just, here we are. In this episode, because it's like a week and a half out, and we do plan on recording a normal episode in our normal cadence in only a few days' time. So we thought we're just going to go full vibes.
Full vibes. Post-mortem.
Speaking of podcasts that go full vibes, like the broadcast, their tagline is something to do with the vibes, right?
Yeah, and vibes only. I don't know what it is. It's been so long since I've had a broadcast episode.
Well, so I think they had an episode like last month. I mean, I'll be honest, their recording schedule became very sporadic, and it was difficult to sort of follow on. Kind of like us, right? Who knows when we record.
Yeah. But yeah, we're going vibes today. The vibes are they off? Are they gone? Are they DOA? Like,
all we got left is vibes.
Yeah.
It's the only thing to look forward to.
No hockey, just vibes.
Yeah. Spoiler alert, the Vancouver Canucks were mathematically eliminated tonight. The thing about this was after the game last night, which we're going to talk about, because that game was all sorts of vibes.
Oh, yeah.
The Vancouver Canucks were not mathematically eliminated. That didn't happen now. Anyhow, so we'll talk about this, and then we'll do a more full, decompression in a few days' time. So yeah, what are we going to get into? We'll get into the weekish that has been kind of sort of vibes. We'll get into some of our thoughts on all the vibe-tastic and vibe-tacular experiences. And then we'll dive into what next? Like, what is there to look forward to? Is there anything to look forward to? Are we even looking forward at this point? Haven't a clue. What we are looking for is more vibes. So Crash Course Rewind. The Vancouver Canucks had a wonderful game last Wednesday night against the Seattle Kraken. Let me tell you, best game ever.
Yeah, it was lackluster to say the least. I feel like I use that word so much, but unfortunately Canucks give me cause to use that word quite a bit. So, yeah, Canucks lost 5-0. 'Twas bad vibes.
Oh, so many bad vibes.
Is there anything else we even need to say about that?
To be honest, there was a little sliver in my soul prior to that game that thought, the Vancouver Canucks have done sillier stuff before.
And
but my soul lost that sliver last Wednesday. It was gone. There was nothing left of my soul.
I want to say Seattle must be the most boring team to beat another team 5-0. Because I really don't want to be that gal, but Canucks lost that game. Seattle did not win that game, and they won 5-0. It should have been an exciting game for someone, but I don't know who that was because it wasn't Seattle either.
Fair play. Saturday. So this game started at noon, which on the first sunny spring weekend Saturday.
It's still one, but yes, still bad.
There might have been 10 people in the Raj for all I know, but let's be honest, I wasn't one of them. I was out at the park with my daughter who was having a heck of a time at the playground.
Yes.
I did not watch this game.
I didn't watch the first period, which is when all the fun was, because
Lots of vibes. There was 5 minutes of vibes.
Yes, and for that 5 minutes, I was outside enjoying the blossoms, listening to the game on the radio because Sportsnet Plus said, no thanks.
Bad vibes.
As it is wont to do, honestly. Ridiculous service. But I thought, okay, my phone's dying. I need to pee. May as well go back for the second and third. That wasn't exactly the best choice, but 6-2, they beat the team they're supposed to beat.
Exactly, and you watched the second and third. Me, I did not. I was out at the park, and I was out enjoying life until such time as I got on the train to go and watch the Whitecaps, where you and I got to hang out.
Yes, we were football lads. Whitecaps won 2-0. Is that correct? I was there, but
it was 2-0. I would say that 75 minutes of the game, the Vancouver Canucks were playing entertaining football or soccer, depending on your want, and then it was boring.
Yes.
The final.
Yeah. I think that's when we started talking about Rick Tockett's next contract.
It probably was, yeah. So that takes us into the game against Vegas on Sunday night, the 6th.
Hogland is back. That's all there is to say about that game.
Yeah, I mean, it was... No point in time did it feel like Vegas was going to lose, despite Hoglanders playing well. Hughes, we'll talk more about this, but Quinn Hughes was doing everything that he could possibly do for this team in the past week and a half.
Including lying and saying he's 100% healthy, which is hilarious. The Rat King, Artu Ratu, he's playing well.
Yep. And hopefully he gets an opportunity to go and play in Abbotsford because they hot like fire.
Yeah, they really
and this is not a knock against Artu. Just get this young kid more meaningful hockey because he's got a future
playoff
in
hockey.
This game, I think.
Yeah, why not?
And again, we were going to record, but we didn't. And so, things. That brings us to the road game against the Dallas Stars. So I didn't actually get to see any of this game. Long story short, I had to meet friend of the show, Jay, make an exchange.
Okay, well, this sounds like a drug deal, unless you clarify.
So there was a fair amount of cash that exchanged hands, and 2 bags were passed between the two of us.
I mean, weed is legal, so if it was...
graphics card exchange.
I don't even know what that is. Something to do with a computer.
Goes into the computer to make it go vroom.
Yeah. Well, before this record started, we were talking about how the network went down at our office. And even though I could do nothing to help because I don't understand computers at all, I was just stressed in nearby to our IT manager.
Not graphics card related, I hope.
Who knows? I couldn't tell you.
Well, speaking of something that wasn't graphics card related, it was the first 2 periods of the Dallas Stars Vancouver Canucks game because the Dallas Stars had a 3-0 lead going into the 3rd period. At which point the Vancouver Canucks suddenly realized, holy smokes, if we lose this game, we're mathematically eliminated. Can't let that happen. So the Vancouver Canucks attempted what no team has tried before in scoring a bunch of goals in the 3rd period. Now, the Vancouver Canucks, courtesy of a couple power play goals, one from Jake DeBrusk and another one from Victor Mancini. Vittorio Mancini.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I like that. I mean, it was probably offensive, but I liked it.
Oh, probably. Narrowed it to 3-2 within the first 5 minutes of the third period. So the Vancouver Canucks have suddenly turned it on. Dallas, realizing that Vancouver is playing as if they're going to get knocked out of the postseason, started to maybe not slow the game down. Again, I was listening to the radio broadcast, so it's harder to visualize.
I think that's fair. I think for at least 2/3 of the period, it felt like Dallas were on the back foot. Obviously, they're aware that they could have secured home ice advantage in the first round with a win.
But at the 17:15 mark, when Maverick Bourque scores to make it a 4-2 game, I had gotten into the car, mentioned to my wife, it's over. It's done. Like this, the Canucks are down 2. They're going to pull a goaltender, but they've got less than 3 minutes to score 2. It's just not going to happen. So when Mikael Granlund scored the empty net goal, seconds after I have said this, I actually was confused because I don't think Brendan Batchelor had even said that Demko had made it out of the net before Granlund had scored the empty net goal. Like, it was that quick of a transition based on what I'd heard on the radio. And it's 5-2. I'm like, oh, it's done. Canucks have been eliminated. C'est la vie. Off we go. So, there was some conversation on the radio, like, are they going to pull Thatcher Demko again? Because, hey, look, a few games ago, didn't do it. And
it's funny because when he got pulled the first time, I thought, oh, yeah, this is just for optics because of what happened.
Yeah, previously. So Demko goes to the bench with the Vancouver Canucks down 3 goals. Atus Ratu scores at the 19-minute mark. It's 5-3. I start laughing. I'm like, oh my God.
I literally was laughing almost the entire time. Why? But also, if you had I don't know if you've seen the clip since then, but like, Aatu Ratu's face is like, yeah, okay, I got one back.
Mm-hmm. Well, no, I mean...
He's defeated. Why wouldn't you be?
You have to score 3 goals to tie this game, and you have now
less than
a minute left, so 2 left. Ensuing face-off, Demko to the bench. Pius Suter scores 30 seconds later. So 19-3, it's 5-4, and I'm like, oh my God. Like, what is Vancouver doing? Like, is this just a toy with our hearts? Mm-hmm. So when Demko goes to the bench a third time, Pius Suter scores again, and the Canucks have tied it up 5-5. I almost drove off the road. I was laughing.
Yeah, I found the whole thing so funny because it's like, what is the funniest thing to happen to Canucks fans in that precise moment? It's not getting eliminated. It's staying alive for one more game.
Three goals in less than a minute to tie a game. In each of those goals, your net was empty. You had to have 6 attackers on the ice. It has never been done in the NHL before, and the Vancouver Canucks can lay claim to that. Goes in overtime. Dallas takes a penalty.
Can we just also talk about how in overtime Philip Roenick won a face-off?
Oh, yes. Sorry.
I keep forgetting that detail, and I don't think I mentioned it when I was on CBC today because there was so much other crazy stuff that happened. But Philip Roenick won a face-off.
Yeah, he wins the face-off. He's now tied with Kevin Bieksa for defenseman with the best face-off record, 100%. Bieksa won the face-off on the line brawl when Torts was in town.
Oh, what a day that was. Kellen Lane's NHL debut lasted 2 seconds.
Exactly. So Dallas takes a penalty. They kill it off. And credit to Vancouver. Vancouver was doing everything it can to score that overtime winner on that power play. The thing about it, though, is that the puck doesn't actually go out of play. There's no stoppage. It remains 4-4 hockey. And it's almost like the Dallas Stars forgot that there were 4 Canucks on the ice because Kiefer Sherwood was left wide open in the slot.
And considering, where the Piasuda goals had been scored from, it seemed crazy to me.
Yeah, so Kiefer Sherwood scores to give the Vancouver Canucks the win. So the tie ensured the Vancouver Canucks weren't mathematically eliminated. The win ensured they were not until today when the Minnesota Wild beat the San Jose Sharks. So the Vancouver Canucks are done, despite the vibe-tacular experience we got out of the final minute of the third period against the Stars. The Canucks have nothing more to play for other than pride.
Despite the crazy Minnesota Wild San Jose Sharks game that happened tonight, Wednesday, where there were 2 hat tricks, including Macklin Celebrini. The Sharks came back from 7-4 down to tie at 7 apiece. Unfortunately, Minnesota got the extra point, and all was said and done. But, like, a crazy 2 days of hockey.
Yeah, it has been. I will admit I'm kind of disappointed because the Vancouver Canucks were going to take on the Minnesota Wild on Saturday. And I didn't have any belief that the Vancouver Canucks were going to find a way to make the playoffs. That Kraken loss did it. As I said, my soul was ripped from my body. But I would have liked to have seen that game
mean something.
Mean something, right? Because, you know, even if it was where if Minnesota wins, they're in type thing. But now it's...
Yeah, but it's kind of like they already have the game against Calgary on the Friday, so... Yeah, where you're rooting for Calgary to, like, win in overtime or something. Like, yeah.
Yeah, so the Vancouver Canucks, c'est fini. As far as sort of what's next, so they have a game against the Colorado Avalanche on the road. The Vancouver Canucks come home. They take on the Minnesota Wild. And then was it 2 more? And that's that.
Yeah, they've got a game against San Jose, so at home. So hopefully, finally, a treat for home fans, and a game against Vegas at home, which I'm going to. So yeah, it is kind of crazy that all the fun wins have been on the road because Canucks hate their home fans. But yeah,
not that it matters. So what do you think about the Avs and the Wild? What are you figuring the Canucks are going to do here?
Womp womp.
Yeah, I'm totally thinking they're going to stink it up.
Yeah. It's like, you can say that I know they're professionals. I know they, like, Quinn wants them to win, and, like, they have pride and all of that, but it's just so hard after fighting so long not to let it drop a bit.
No, and I look at what happened in Dallas, all of the emotion that they expended, the roller coaster that they went through, and then win, and to like, even despite how they may have felt, it's, so you're telling me we have a chance, like that feeling, that euphoria to just have it.
I think you do have to be a bit delulu as a hockey player too, right? To just
delulu. That's the technical term.
Delulu, yeah.
Delulu.
And believe.
Vibes, delulu. We're just best podcast.
Yeah, we're the Gen Z podcast, right? Neither of us being Gen Z.
I'm totally Gen Z. Hello there, fellow kids.
Exactly. And see, Gen Zers won't get that reference.
I know, it's so sad. Anyhow, so...
But yes, yeah, I think, like, Canucks would have kind of believed, especially Quinn, but, like, a lot of them would have just believed, as long as they're alive, there's a chance. But yeah, it's so hard not to get at least partly affected by the way things have turned out.
Yeah, and I mean, you look at the competition. So the Colorado Avalanche, I mean, they may move from where they are, like, position-wise, but they're 6 points behind the Dallas Stars.
Yeah.
The likelihood is they're not going to catch them. And with the 100 points they currently have, very unlikely that the teams behind them will catch up. So conceivably, Colorado's where they are. Mm-hmm. So there might be the potential for the Vancouver Canucks to meet an opponent who's going into the playoffs knowing sort of where they're at. But the game against the Minnesota Wild, where Minnesota will still be in a position where they're going to be potentially jockeying for a playoff spot. I just don't see the Vancouver Canucks doing well. And then we've seen this far too often. The final couple of games of the season, and the Vancouver Canucks are just like, if there's any saving grace, at least against the San Jose Sharks, they're not playing against a team that's in the postseason. But the Vegas Golden Knights are going to make an example of the Vancouver Canucks. And the only thing the Canucks have going for them is if the Golden Knights are resting their team. Which,
I mean, the Vegas Golden Knights love to do before a lengthy playoff run. Just back to the Avs, because I just saw it a little bit of a tangent, but did you see that Gabe Landeskog has been loaned to the Colorado Eagles on a conditioning stint?
I did not know this.
So he hasn't played in 3 years, almost. So, you never know what's going to happen, but it would be a really cool story if he was able to play professionally again.
Wow.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see. We got a couple of games. We'll be back again next week, and we'll talk about the results of those, and then set up the final 2 of the season, and then it's just vibes.
Vibes, etc.
Vibes. You're listening to the C4 Canucks Hockey Podcast, brought to you by Anna and Chris.
Take hitting out of the game. You can't hit anymore, so don't do it.
The unsportsmanlike conduct, I want to get an explanation on that.
No kidding.
Because how do you get suspended for unsportsmanlike conduct?
Plus interference. There's no interference there. He had the puck.
Now, Madison never ever did that before. Now, why did he do it? And that because he was mad.
Well, your early favorite for the Calder Trophy, that's for sure. Elias Pettersson, you might even say your early favorite for the Hart Trophy.
Just to get back to your question, Elias is going to play plenty. He's going to get a lot of power play time. And yeah, I'm concerned about our offense. We lost 200-point players, and we've got to find a way to score.
I like how you put in the rundown to kick off half full, half empty. Tick-tock it and Brock o'clock.
I'm good with the... Honestly, if we publish my rundowns, it would be fun. But yes, also, quick shout out, happy birthday, Rick Tocchet, for Wednesday, because it is his birthday today as we record, so happy birthday. Cool. You get eliminated from the playoffs. But yeah, maybe.
That's a stellar gift you wrapped up for him there.
Yeah. But Quinn Hughes said nice things about him today, so that's another thing.
That's good.
But yeah, Rick Tocchet.
Do you think Rick's back?
I say it's far more likely today than a couple of days ago before Quinn said those nice things about him.
Yeah, when we were talking on Saturday, I think, you and I had resigned ourselves to the fact that Rick Tocchet is probably done. Like, it was just more of a, yes, team option, team can bring him back.
But they're not likely to do that.
Let him go.
Yeah.
Right?
Without, him wanting to be there. Yeah.
Exactly. So, you and I sort of thought that he was on his way out. You're of the opinion now he's probably going to be coming back. I'm not yet sold.
And I'm not sold either, but it's much more likely now that Quinn sung his praises, because literally all Canucks' number one priority from now until then, he retires, should be keep Quinn Hughes happy.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I mean, if Quinn Hughes wants Rick Tocchet back, you bring Rick Tocchet back. I wholeheartedly agree. Quinn is ultimately the GM at this point. The thing about this, though, if you happen to miss it, Bruce Boudreau was chit-chatting about his experience and comparing it to what he's seen Rick Tocchet go through. And to paraphrase and summarize, Bruce described it as the front office is a bunch of bullies who try to force you into making a decision that's not best for you. And they don't care if you're a coach or not, you're going to sign or they're going to go and make your life miserable. Now, I'm not going to suggest that Bruce doesn't have maybe a horse in the race of the bad vibes experience that he received. Yeah. He seems like a good guy, but
and wasn't treated the best.
A little biased, right? But it also doesn't occur to me that Rick is the one to suffer fools. If the front office is truly going to come and you're going to do this and we're going to give you this and you're going to like it. Rick Tocchet occurs to me to be the type of guy who says, you know what I'm going to like? I'm going to like leaving.
Yeah, I do think I agree with that. But I also think Rick Tocchet's ultimately going to do what's best for him, and he will endure maybe not the best environment if he thinks it's the best move for him. Does that make sense? I do think
it does.
He can be he'll make the best choice for his career, whatever that is, and he won't care much how people feel about it.
The thing about that though is the team can only bring him back for 1 year. If he chooses not to sign whatever they're putting in front of him, the team can say we're going to bring back for 1. Now Rick can't really do much to force his way out. As much as I was trying to suggest, maybe he kind of was, maybe.
I mean,
but what team is he going to go to? There needs to be an opening for him to go and say, hey, that's the team I'm going to go to. But if he comes back on a team option for 1 more year, he still has all the power. If teams suddenly realize, oh, he might be available, they can make decisions thinking the season subsequent. And if for some reason the Vancouver Canucks were to say, hey, man, we're going in a different direction, having brought him back for a season and deal with him midway through. There are teams out there that'd be like, cool, Rick.
Yeah.
Want a job?
Yeah, and don't think that if Canucks bring him back that's all that's said and done and like that's that forever, right? He'll be like lots of teams will be checking in and being aware of what's going on. We talked about the Torts vacancy, the Torts opening in Philadelphia, and I really don't want to give John Tortorella any credit whatsoever, but I don't think he's completely at fault. I don't think it's a good situation in Philly at all. And I'm not saying it's akin to the Jim Benning era, but like I don't think it's a good situation to step into. And we know that around the league, the ownership of the Canucks is not well regarded.
Hey, they ranked. They did not rank dead last in a survey.
Did they rank second last?
Possibly, but
Possibly.
not dead last.
Yeah. That crown belongs to Carolina. But yeah,
Do
like
the reverse Ricky Bobby. If you ain't last, you're first.
Oh, yeah. Took me a second. But isn't that also basically what Tort said when he came in? He was like,
pretty much.
Yeah. What did he say? Oh, I'm a sore loser. I don't want to be seen. A good loser is just a loser. Anyway, yeah, I don't like the way Torts coaches, but I really think that the front office is not good in Philly. It's not a good situation. So I don't think Rick Tocchet would want to go there. Maybe, I think it's a mistake if he does anyway.
Yeah. Well, there will be more teams this offseason.
Yes.
Presuming.
Yes, exactly.
Come back, if the Vancouver Canucks were to say, "Hey, thanks, we're not going to renew your option." I think there will be teams that, if they were to hear that, would make even a decision of their own.
14 teams or 13 other teams that are missing the playoffs too, right? And not all of them are good situations.
Yeah. Brock Besser. Do we have 4 more games of Brock before he plays for another team, or do you think the Vancouver Canucks decide, oh man, we need some good news? Hey, Brock, how much do you want?
Yeah, I mean, the whole thing's mad because he has played since the trade deadline has passed. I wouldn't say back to his old self, but Brock Besser certainly had some good moments. And it does seem to be such a mistake to cheap out on Brock. Obviously, we don't know the numbers that went back and forth.
I don't necessarily know if the Vancouver Canucks are looking to cheap out on Brock. I think it's more of an acknowledgement that they can't afford to pay him what he's worth. Now, they may not feel he's worth that much, but the market is the one that decides.
Yeah, and if you're looking at priorities for the team, maybe you're looking at the center depth with a guy you don't know if will ever play NHL hockey ever again.
Whoa. We got Philip Roenick. We're fine down the middle.
Okay, yeah. He can take face-offs, so it's all fine. Piers Suter, we don't, what's his future? We don't know. Pedersen, hopefully, is coming back into himself, but we don't know that for sure. And yeah, we don't know if Philip Peter will ever play NHL hockey ever again. Very quick sidebar. But an Australian cricket player, Will Pucovski, has just retired at age 27 after spending kind of years in and out of the game with concussion and kind of deciding it's not worth giving up the rest of my life and my life, my well-being. And, people have died in cricket before from being hit in the head, so it's a scary thing. I just think it's gonna, I don't want to make it seem like I'm treating it lightly at all. Phil Peter's, long-term health is very important. But yeah.
So, I hadn't considered the center position.
Plus the whole blue line thing.
But, the blue line thing is the blue line thing. It'll be forever the blue line thing. But if the Vancouver Canucks have, Elias Pettersson as a center,
which I believe his position.
Mm-hmm. and nothing else. I could see one of Suter or Brock come back. I would vote Brock, but I could see the team going after Suter. But even then, it's hard. Like the front office, we give them credit for some of their sort of moves. I don't necessarily know from a contract perspective if we've given them credit where it may or may not be deserved, but we would agree that they don't make rash decisions. I feel signing Brock at all costs might be a rash decision.
Yeah, I don't.
And I'm not against. Like I like Brock as a player, but
yeah,
like the market's going to suggest Brock gets paid, and presuming the market pays him.
Yeah, that's the thing. And it's kind of just like we talked about.
I don't have plan B though.
Yeah, we talked about at the time. Like someone's going to have to budge somewhere, and it's either you're budging on Brock's trade value or his re-sign value. Right. Canucks did neither, so they're going to have to overpay or let him go. Yeah. And it might be a massive overpayment at this stage. And they might decide center depth and getting friends for Quinn Hughes.
Yeah, well,
might be a
guess
better
what?
Choice.
We're going to go and digest, decompress, and rip apart many times over for the next, was it 2.5 months? 3 months?
Oh, gosh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, like, I know it, and you knew it before, but it's still brutal to think. Mm-hmm. Like, obviously, we're going to watch the NHL playoffs, but you're not going to have your heart in the NHL playoffs.
No. Speaking of Plan B, in the games that mattered, Thatcher Demko is the goaltender manning the crease. Now, Demko, by definition, is the quote-unquote starting goaltender for the Vancouver Canucks.
And that was true at the beginning of the season, and technically.
In a vacuum.
Yeah.
Now, Kevin Lankinen, to his credit, played out of his mind many nights over the course of the season. But when games mattered, Thatcher Demko was the goaltender that Rick Tocchet went with. A goaltender coming off of injuries, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Because the injury that he's recently off of is apparently not related to the Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers muscle.
Yeah.
Okay.
I actually can't even remember what it is, so we're gonna go with that. So. Yeah,
but what's that suggest? Your recently signed $4.5 million goaltender, like, is this just man vibes?
Yeah. I mean, quickly, I just want to reference my rundown because it's another banger. Because I've said in brackets, we need to talk about Kevin, like the hit book and film. I just keep him coming, really. But yeah, Kevin Lankinen, he is arguably the Canucks MVP for 2/3 of the season. He's arguably one, like him and Quinn Hughes, keeping the Canucks in games, keeping them competitive.
We're not talking about that Dallas game and the comeback as potentially meaning something if it wasn't for Kevin Lankinen.
Yes, indeed.
2/3 of the season.
Indeed. But you have to say he's fallen off. Is that just because he can't cope with the starter's load?
Yeah, who knows? Or, as there are some, and I mean, I don't necessarily think you and I subscribe to the theory, but there are some who suggest that Kevin Lankinen, one, should not have gotten the money he's gotten. Two, should never be a starter. Never is, never will be. And they're looking at the recent spell of games from him and saying, see, told you, see.
Yeah. I mean, I'd love for those people to say, like, what were Canucks' other options at the point they signed Kevin Lankinen. Shilovs has showed that not necessarily that the playoffs were a fluke, but that he's not ready for steady NHL action. And you can't think that his game has gotten better by sitting on the sidelines for so long and not playing in Abbotsford. So we'll see what happens in the playoffs down in the AHL, whether, like, between him and Tolopilo, That's a hard name to say. I'm sorry, Nikita. Yeah. I do think, like, not even just our best option. I think he was, great value for money, and I do think he is a good option going forward, but I do think it shows that he is not quite starter ready.
But, I mean, we could be eating our words
and we'd be happy to be doing so
next season. Yeah, that's true. Speaking of the baby Canucks, have they lost, like, since they were on their, was it 14-game winning streak or whatever it was?
So I think it's 13 games, and I don't believe they've lost yet.
Like, you think the St. Louis Blues have been hot? No, the Abbotsford Canucks are literal fire.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and the incredible thing is they've been behind in quite a few of those games and clawed their way back in because they are scrappy. Like Connor Garland is scrappy, like Scrappy Doo is scrappy.
Missing a good third of their roster because they've been playing
for
the big
Canucks.
club.
I mean, Max Sasson's doing pretty much double duty for both teams. And I believe it was today, Wednesday, that Jonathan Lakamaki was sent down. Yeah. So a little boost to their roster there. But yes, it is.
So I was going to say, Lekaramaki, loved him in Vancouver, leave him in Abbotsford. This is not saying he deserves to be there. No sense having him get the experience for 4 games.
And like, rather than him playing 7 minutes a night, maybe he would be playing more in a post-elimination scenario, but like, I'd much rather see him in Abbotsford gear up for playoffs. Keep his colder. Also, he technically can still compete for the Calder next year with the amount of games he's played. So now he has to compete for the
Ratu and Elias Peterson go down there. Mancini too. But the problem is the Vancouver Canucks still have the rest of the roster.
Yes, and whoever that is, like, they need to be NHL like professional hockey players. But yeah, like, Abbotsford are really fun to watch. It is very much year of the tie down in Abbotsford. And honestly, like, so there's 3 ties that have played games for the, as in TY, that have played games for the Abbotsford Canucks this year. Ty Glover, Ty Young, and Ty Mueller. Ty Mueller's just had a really, really good year, kind of out of nowhere. Ty Glover's existed, and that's good enough. And
better than not existing.
Ty Young, who annoyingly is the goalie out of the 3. Once again, annoyed that Ty Glover is not the goalie. But Ty Young came up from the Kalamazoo Wings and acquitted himself very well. So he played in, I think, 4 or 5 of the wins in the winning streak were with Ty Young in net. So, yeah, pretty good overall. Manny Malhotra, rising star. You have to say.
Potential future Vancouver Canucks head coach.
I think that's the idea, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I mean, Vancouver has traditionally really leaned on bringing up their, AHL affiliate as their next coach.
I mean, Travis Green recently qualified for the playoffs. Travis Green with Ottawa.
Yeah, going back, Alain Vignon.
Yeah, especially with the control they've taken over their farm team now, you've got to think that that's the eventual plan. But whether he's ready for it next year,
I hear Manny still got it. Player coach.
I mean, like, there's way too much complex history with Manny Malhotra playing for the Canucks. So let's probably not go there. But yeah, fun team. Chase Waters once again has had a really good season. Archie Baines looks great and building for his NHL career. But yeah, like, I know NHL playoffs will be fun and exciting, but yeah, if you live near Abbotsford, if you have access to AHL TV, watch some playoff hockey.
You would put Team Awards in half a lap, Nevney. I think we should sit on it.
I think so too, because I haven't thought about it. Apart from our yearly argument about what unsung hero means.
It's the person who gets sung lots.
But maybe this is a good moment to mention that Dakota Joshua was the Vancouver nomination for the Bill Masterton Trophy, and you've got to say that's a pretty worthy winner right there.
I mean, okay, in fairness, I don't know the situation of all of the other nominees, and I'm sure there are some pretty solid ones.
Okay, but Do you know who was nominated out of Detroit?
Having a clue.
Patrick Kane.
Sorry, what was it that he had to go through? Life?
Yeah. I mean, the amount that boy has gotten away with, and I don't want to make light of it because there's some pretty serious accusations in his past, but, like, I'm not sure adversity is really what we're talking about here.
I mean, the adversity he's faced is being Patrick Kane.
Yeah. Being an a-hole all your life, maybe.
Well, allegedly.
I think we can say without doubt that he's an a-hole. The rest of the stuff is alleged.
Oh, well, here we are, a shorter episode, because, again, vibes, and, I mean, at this point in time, what is there left?
And, you're just going to hear us again in a few days' time, so we had to check in and give a vibe check.
And it would have been completely unfair for us not to, having told you we would have been here a couple of days ago, having spent a little extra time in the kitchen cooking. But, fires
happened.
Yeah.
Smoke got in things.
Yeah. Bad news all around. If you reach this point of the show, might remind you that Anna and I are going to go and record C4 Off the Rails. C4 Off the Rails is exclusively for those who support us either on a monthly or annual basis. And you can do that too by going to buymeacoffee.com/C4podcast. Buy me a coffee, otherwise known as
Buy Me a Pint.
And you can contribute a few bucks our way on a regular basis to get access to that exclusive audio podcast delicatessen of stuff. I don't know. I was just riffing.
Delicatessen. Okay.
Yeah. Hey, some of the best food I've ever had has come out of a delicatessen.
Oh, yeah. I love a deli. My favorite food is sandwiches, so.
Yeah. You can also, if you'd prefer, just to throw a few bucks our way to truly buy us a pint. Doing that doesn't get you access to C4 Off the Rails, but it does get you our love. And we'll always shout out anyone who supports us. We also can be found all over the place online at many different handles, because consistency has never been our show's forte. We are at the C4 Podcast on the X. We are the Reusufard Podcast on Threads. We are c4podcast.com on Blue Sky. And on Discord, discord.io/C4 Podcast. So, I mean, we're everywhere. But, Anna, any final thoughts, words of wisdom, posers, or queries?
I already said happy birthday to Rick Tockett. Oh, you might have heard me mention I was on CBC today. If you want to catch up with that, just jump on the Coast is the name of the program.
Macarino?
Yes, which is the program I was on last summer, but Gloria was not hosting. So it was my first time meeting Gloria. She was lovely.
She was lovely.
Yes. Very brief, but total pro. So that was really fun. I was on there for about 5 minutes, but yeah, check that out. Cool. My name is misspelled, but it's spelled correctly on the Stephen Quinn page, so who knows? That's fine. I had a nice time, and that's all that matters, right?
It is. Final thoughts for me. You are listening to the head coach of the Pink Puppies.
I love that.
I let the girls pick the team name. Our team color is pink. That's the color of our jersey, and they wanted to be the Pink Puppies.
Yeah, I mean, maybe don't type that into Google, but...
Oh, no.
Definitely don't, but that's cute. I love that.
The 3 suggestions that the girls came up with was the Pink Puppies, the Pink Panthers, and the Pink Ponies.
Like Pink Pony Club.
Yes. And that's sort of the one I thought that we would go with because of the response. But they voted, and the Pink Puppies won.
Yeah. I mean, Pink Panthers is good, too. I don't know if they have ever seen Pink Panther.
They don't. They think it's just the
great theme tune, though.
But that's all she wrote for this podcast. I'm Chris at Light4. She's Anna E4603, and we're out.